next hour, Roger Stone, the villain of villains, the most evil man in the world, according to thousands of different news articles the last few months, hundreds the last few days. He is, of course, the subject of a multi-year documentary that interviews the president when he was running for president. And Roger Stone follows Roger Stone for the last 3-4 years, right through to Trump's victory, ending in the InfoWars studios, in our larger studios right across the hall. And it's just crazy to me. I wanted to bring this up to Roger because they call him this villain because he introduced modern TV ads in the 70s and 80s, negative advertising, exposing the Democrats for who they really were when the Republicans actually started standing up against a lot of disinformation. The Democrats were the kings of original negative advertising. They had the nightly news. They had the big three networks. This was conservatives and patriots going from the experiences of Barry Goldwater being run over by these traitors and learning how to create their own media and their own system. So we're talking proto-InfoWars. So I've known Roger about 4 or 5 years, but known him good about 2.5. And he's so accurate. In fact, he warns me sometimes when something isn't 100% on and says, you know, the key is we've got to be totally accurate. That's the real currency of victory here, is having the scoops, having the sources. If you put out fake scoops or you put out something that's 100% right, even by accident sometimes, it damages what you're doing. That's why they're always trying to say we're fake news when they're the ones lying about WMDs. They're the ones lying about their whole fake drug war, both parties. They're the ones lying about Obamacare. And, you know, Roger Stone has been true to himself as a libertarian conservative. You know, he's, you know, a pro-gay marriage. He's pro-marijuana legalization. And he says that in the film. But then they act like he's this cold-blooded demon, you know, that supported all these dictators and things. Well, how about supporting people that are fighting communist dictators taking over? Or at least letting them have access to the American political system so the United States has contact with those people and influence. It's the Democrats backing the Arab Spring, the Islamic takeover. Roger Stone's always been fighting that. So all I'm saying is I'm a 100% ideologue. I do everything I do because I believe in free market. I believe in open free societies. I believe in Americana. Why wouldn't I? Look at Venezuela. Look at Cuba. Look at North Korea. Look at China. I love America. And so they do all this gesticulation and backbending and everything to try to say we're actors, we're fake, we're frauds. When they're the actors, they're the fakes. We're teleprompter free. We're not like Stephen Colbert, an actor posing as a reporter, saying we're not real. We're not like Trevor Noah and John Oliver and all these people that have staffs of hundreds of people loading them full of BS. We believe in what we stand for. And you see Trump killing TPP, $3 trillion plus in the stock market, 300 billion in new jobs, 500,000 new jobs actually announced. Globalists in full panic, invoking God, saying we love God, not the state. This is coffin nails to them. So I haven't talked to Roger today. He flew out. I don't know what he wants to cover. I've got the fact that we broke from our sources that, by the way, we're not Roger. He says but he can concur on it, that Trump's getting ready for a big purge. That's in the New York Times yesterday. Cernovich has got more joining us. The FBI probe, the Islamists selling children's organs. I mean, this is crazy. The liberals wanting to ban. See, Roger will go to a gay freedom rally, and he's in the new film doing that. I knew Roger was doing that years ago. He's supporting open freedom, trying to get the Republican Party, which Trump's done, to not be so control freak. But the left are the new control freaks. So you could not be against gay people, but at the same time, it's not gay people pushing that they don't want mother and fathers or they want Mother's Day banned. That's a load of bull. This is about overthrowing what they call the basic human system. So we're going to cover this all in the next hour with Roger Stone. We're going to have live feeds tonight as well at Infowars.com for some special live shows on the street. And then he'll be in studio with us back tomorrow, StoneColdTruth.com. Roger, I am wound up, so you better jump in or you won't get a word in edgewise here.
You know, Alex, I think that in a certain sense, I think the reason this documentary was green-lighted by Netflix is because they believe that the Trump presidency will be a failure. And therefore, they can pin it on me. They hope to vilify me the way they vilified Karl Rove. And again, I think they know that when you say over and over again, you know, Trump is a sock puppet. Stone was pulling all the strings, which is completely untrue. That hurts you with the man. So there's an undercurrent of that. You won't find me saying anywhere in this documentary or anywhere that I am Trump's brain or that the strategy of the elected was his and not mine. Now, I do think when you work with somebody for 40 years, there is an osmosis.
You put a mark on them, and they affect you.
Well, and vice versa. I saw some things differently because of things I learned from him. I think he saw things differently than what he saw.
Sure, but they call you the greatest villain, the super villain, and then you didn't do anything. I mean, you watch this, and it's like you know what they're up to. The Clintons stealing all the money from Haiti and backing radical Islam and all the rapes and all the other crap. You never raped anybody, Roger?
No, and as you know, there's a subset of leftists now trying to push the idea that Trump is mentally incompetent, that he's insane. Let's think about that for a moment. We had a serial rapist as our president. Where were they then? They weren't talking about what a nut job Bill Clinton was then. So, I mean, he's a sex criminal. It's outrageous, but it shows the extent to which they are petrified. The president is very angry. I think he has come to the conclusion that he is being ill-served by some around him.
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, here I am popping interrupting, but let's walk through that. I called you on Tuesday and Wednesday, and I said, here's my sources. Is that accurate? You said, yeah, that's really accurate, but don't quote me because I want to keep my sources, quite frankly. But you said, yes, he is angry. That part is accurate. Some heads are probably going to roll. And then I confirmed with you. The media said that was fake news, but 3 days later, it's in the New York Times on Saturday. Everything you said, I said word for word. Well,
and I can tell you right now that there was bickering in the White House staff over Abbas's meeting with the president and whether or not we were going to hold his feet to the fire on the funding of terrorism. We can never have peace between his country and ours, between his political organization and the United States, as long as he finances the murder of Jews and Christians and anyone who disagrees. We just can't do it. And the president stepped in and kind of toughened up the rhetoric, and the meeting became somewhat more confrontational. But there were,
again, that country's
right, and there were those on the White House staff who didn't want to raise this issue, who were more interested in the photo op and making it look like we're getting along to try to beat back our critics. Well, that would have been without substance, and that's not Trump. So I actually give credit to Sean Spicer on this. He was in favor of a harder line, and the president, I think, learned of his views and agreed with them. Mr. Priebus was not for a hard line.
And again, so we have these Middle Eastern leaders coming here and others, and Trump is calling them out on the carpet, something that had been going on for a very long time. I mean, I loved his address at that university, Christian University yesterday, saying we don't worship government, we worship God, and expanding on that, going and talking about how there's a Christian genocide going on, hundreds of thousands of years by Muslims. This is happening, okay? And the left shows how deranged they are, that they literally want to ally with radical Islam because they're killing Christians. Why does the left have such a giant flaming hard-on for Christians? Why do they want us dead?
Well, and to give him credit, the president has really hung in on the repeal of the so-called Johnson Rule. The Johnson Rule was put in place by Lyndon Johnson so that preachers...
Saying Christians that are conservative have no free speech, but liberals can run around and do whatever they want.
But more importantly, preachers in Texas could not preach against him before the election. That's why he put it in place. It was all about him. And Billy Graham is the one who explained what Johnson had done to Donald Trump, and he has never forgotten it, and he's never backed off.
By the way, every time I talk to him, he brings it up just randomly. He says, you watch, I'm going to let Christians have free speech. You like that? You like that? I'm like, yeah, I really like that. I like everybody to have free speech. Let's come back then, Roger, talk about the president, where he's at right now, where you're at. All right, Roger Stone has been so busy in New York City, he hasn't even slept. And he flew down here today. He's in Austin, Texas. He'll be with us for a couple days in studio. Poor guy didn't even eat today. I was just talking to him. He's, man, I had to eat something. I'm going to keel over here. But Roger was talking about how hot Trump is. And I want to be clear. I have other sources. Cernovich has sources. I have sources in the Pentagon, different agencies, you name it. Poor Roger, every time I report something, he gets called and asked, did you release that? Just like Dan Bongino's never given me any information out of the Secret Service. He's been out of it for years. Every time I say the Secret Service said Hillary Clinton's having seizures and falling down every 45 minutes, he gets called and threatened. And I've got to say, no, it's not Dan Bongino. To the point of he didn't want to come on the show because of it. But we have our sources. White House sources, Trump looks to replace Spicer as purge of establishment advisors begins. It's not even so much a purge, but moving Spicer on. And I talked about Priebus and others. I talked to Roger a few days later, and he said, yeah, that's on target. Well, this week, We reported that. Now, Saturday, the New York Times comes out and says, sure enough, looks like he's being moved out the door, and Trump wants a major reboot. So, again, are we fake news? No, they hate us because the corporate media is forced to report stuff they would never report because we force them to by reporting it days, weeks, or years before. That's why they hate InfoWars.com and StoneColdTruth.com, and Mike Cernovich is going to be co-hosting with us in the next two segments. So, Roger, let's get into Trump, the intel you've got, the intel we've got, where he is, the type of reboots, the new FBI director, other key smorgasbord.
Well, Alex, I think one of the things the president is most unhappy about is the fact that the Democrats have been much more successful in pushing the false narrative of Russian collusion in the election, and we have not been as effective at getting to the bottom of how the president was, in fact, surveilled in certain phone calls at Trump Tower. Now, you'll remember that FBI Director Comey and Admiral Rogers of the NSA both testified under oath that there was no surveillance. Well, if one phone call with Donald Trump were recorded, then they perjured themselves. We now know that there were more than one. We have not been as good. Of course, we don't have the mainstream media allies that they have, but the White House political shop has not done an effective job on this question. The president is burned up over the false narrative that the Russians helped him win the election. This makes him angry, and Alex, it should, because it's a lie. It's a distortion. It's a fantasy of the left, and it had two purposes: to distract from the corruption of the Podesta brothers and the Clintons, and also to make up for the fact that they nominated an old, tired, sick, corrupt candidate who had no energy and no ideas.
Well, plus, they'd been in the news saying, oh, we've got Trump, we got his people with the Russians, we've got them surveilled. The New York Times dozens of times in late 2016, early 2017, we covered it ad nauseum, showed the headlines. And then Comey says the president's crazy, that he thinks Obama surveilled him. Then last week it comes out, even the Associated Press said that Obama ordered thousands of Americans in the campaign surveilled for political purposes. So they've literally turned their crimes around against the president. I found it endearing that he went on TV with Holt and Lester Holt and NBC and said, listen, I did get rid of him over the leaks. I did get rid of him over the weird stuff he said about Hillary. She's super corrupt, but we can't go after her. And I am sick of the Russia. It's made up. And they go, oh, my God, that's obstruction of justice. You got rid of... No, he's saying it's bull. He's being honest. He's sick of it. And then he did ask the FBI. We all know this. Hey, look at Hillary and the uranium deals. Look at the China deals. Go after them. He knows he's not done anything, and that's why he's so angry, is he understands it's a canard, as you said, on a bunch of different shows the last week.
And you notice that Director Comey had no interest at all into looking into the corruption of the Clinton Foundation. He's too busy chasing Russian collusion.
Or the illegal server, or the pedophilia, or the...
Or Sandy Berger, or Mark Rich. This goes back a long way. He's been giving the Clintons a pass for a long time. FBI director, now this is a complicated question. I think the president needs somebody who is not in Washington, not part of the Washington buddy system. The acting director, McCabe, it would be a disaster. This is a guy who...
His wife gave $600,000 to the Democrats.
Well, no, it's twofold here.
She gave...
He first of all, wanted to use taxpayer money to pay for the phony dossier on Donald Trump, and she got $700,000 through Terry McAuliffe for a state Senate race in Virginia, which was the payoff for not prosecuting Hillary, for not recommending the prosecution.
Sure, and I saw that, but then I saw reports that they've given big to Democrats.
I don't know what their wealth is, but I had researched this, and McAuliffe, of course, is he is one of the flying monkeys in the Clintons.
Sure, well, let me tell you how I know the Russia thing's bull. I've followed it, I've watched it. Plus, they said I'm under criminal investigation for actually being commanded by the Russians. That's the biggest load of horse manure on the planet. I mean, it is complete abject bull.
Well, and this hearing with the...
they don't ever let us testify, do they?
No, isn't that amazing that they don't... They keep saying, we want these guys to testify. In fact, Chairman Burr said he'll subpoena anybody who refuses.
Why don't we go to D.C. in the next few weeks with cameras and just try to march in and demand their offices? Like Schumer's, we're here. Testify. I mean, let's have press conferences, you name it.
I think it's a pretty good idea. I don't. They can't deal with the guerrilla politics of the movement.
But you're a famous anti-communist, and all we're trying to do is cut taxes, rebuild our military, defend our borders, kill the TPP, restore American sovereignty. If that's Russian agenda, well, then I guess that's wonderful.
But, Alex, that's the whole point. I'm the perfect villain. Because I've cultivated this reputation for having sharp elbows and a rogue, the Democrats think I'll be a patsy on this. The problem is they don't have an iota of proof of Russian collusion. I don't know any Russians, and they know I don't know any Russians because they hacked my email. They have had me under surveillance.
But they never stop. So let me ask you this. Why is Trump so mad? Because it's made up. Is he just sick of it? I mean,
I think he's sick of it. Plus, he sees what really are egregious crimes over here by the Clintons that no one talks about, that they just walk away from.
Do we have any idea? I mean, I think Cornyn overall has proven to be a pretty good senator. He's a little kind of mainstream, but at the same time, I mean, who else would be a good FBI director?
I would like former New York Police Commissioner Ray Kelly. Now, I disagree with him on stop and frisk. And stop and frisk was never decided.
Didn't we run into him in Cleveland?
Yes, we did. He's a good man. But stop and frisk has never been decided by the courts. It was knocked down by the lower courts, and then New York City Mayor de Blasio never appealed, so we don't have a definitive answer.
Well, we shouldn't rise and fall on that.
It is illegal today. It is one issue, though. Looking at it overall, he's a New Yorker. He is personally close to the president, knows him well. So there's a trust there. He did a phenomenal job of taking the crime capital of the United States and turning it into one of the safest cities in America.
New York was as bad as Chicago.
So I think he would be ideal. I think he might have to be persuaded to take the job, but I think in the end he would take it if it were offered. Judge Jeanine Pirro is another more than capable former prosecutor, former judge.
Press secretary?
Kimberly Guilfoyle, I think.
Let's come back and talk about the next shoes to drop. And a lot more with Roger Stone. Mike Cernovich will have big breaking news straight ahead. We've got 3 of the most attacked people by dinosaur media right now live.
No, I'm married.
Sean, kiss me.
I can't. I have a wife. I took vows.
No, I'm famous. It's okay.
I'm famous. It's
This is
okay.
like The Godfather when you kiss me and no one ever sees me again.
Yes.
And they start having mad passion and love together. Now, here's the issue with this. Here's the issue as we analyze that piece and go to Mike Cernovich. I went and did some research. They did that on another show last week that he was trying to do all this. And that it's always about how he's a liar. Or the piece where they attack me, he goes, black people aren't humans. Alex Jones told me. InfoWars said so. I mean, I can do a better job than Baldwin. It's ridiculous. And I guess he is fatter than me, so I guess the point is that this is total deception. And this is the way they try to then turn the public against Trump, always claiming he's lying, when he actually went on TV, just like we told you back on Tuesday and Wednesday. Trump fired Comey because of all the things he did with the Clintons, of letting him have the leaks, of saying weird stuff that she's corrupt, but we can't prosecute her, and just acting fruity. I said he acts weird, he acts candy-ass, he acts strange. That's what I heard from sources. Trump, days later, says he acts strange, he acts weird, he just is bizarre, and the Russia thing's made up. And they go, and of course, we said it was Russia. And they go, oh, see, even Stone and Jones say it's Russia. Yeah, Trump said it days later. Because it's a bunch of reasons. It's a bunch of made-up crap. Mike Cernovich is our guest with Roger Stone. He'll be co-hosting with me the next 2 days. Hell, the full 4 hours if you want to, my friend. So it's great to have you here. We got a lot of behind-the-scenes planning going on. Big documentary about you's a big hit right now. Get me Roger Stone. But let's talk about the other shoes to drop and what's happening with Spicer. Because now they've gone from Alex Jones is crazy, Roger Stone is crazy, Mike Cernovich is crazy. Yes, everything's wonderful. Spicer's not going anywhere. No shakeups. He's not mad. To now admitting all that's true, which pisses them off because they don't have the sources.
Yeah, in fact, Sean Spicer is under such public attack, I'm starting to get sympathetic to him. They're attacking him because he works for Donald Trump, even though I don't think he is, I don't think he was the right person for this job from the beginning. I'm not sure how many people remember in September when he said if Trump doesn't get his poll numbers up, the Republican National Committee will have to suspend its financial support of his presidential candidacy. That's unheard of. That's outrageous.
And he's a choker. He chokes now and hides in the bushes.
He clearly wasn't at his desk at the right time.
Hey, they make jokes all day. I'm ready to be the White House press secretary. I'll be Guilfoyle's deputy.
Who wouldn't? But that said,
I'll crawl around on my hands and knees.
I think Sarah Huckabee Sanders has done a credible job.
She's really good.
I think she's really done a good job.
She's better than Spicer.
Well, you could say that, yes.
And I think he does some good moral stands and has his good moments, but he's let them get under his skin. And I think it's okay to get angry, but you can't let them actually freak you out.
Well, in this particular case, I think that the White House press shop needs a total overhaul. They need a more offensive operation. And their biggest single problem, Alex, is that we still don't control the government. This is Barack Obama's administration with a few top Trump people with the cabinet jobs, because the chief of staff, Reince Priebus, will not instruct the individual cabinet members to say, this is who you're hiring. Assistant secretaries, deputy secretaries.
They're paralyzed because of him. So let me ask you this. How long, Little Birdie's told me that Reince Priebus is walking the plank very, very soon.
Well, that may be premature, but in trouble.
Okay, what about
in trouble for sure.
What about the word, though, that a big reboot's coming? Trump isn't sure yet, but he's definitely, trying to really overhaul things.
Well, I think he's dissatisfied with the way it's going. Frankly, the poll numbers are something that should be watched very carefully. There's a lot of elasticity here. You'll remember there were times in the campaign when he would drop in the polls and then he would immediately bounce back.
They're manipulating those two. Let's go to Mike Cernovich, obviously very demonized because he is real news. Mike, we're right again with our reporting this week, but we get no credit. What is your latest intel, my friend? Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, my latest intel is that Trump, and Roger can probably confirm this, Trump deliberately, this is how genius Trump's move was, and maybe Roger gave him this advice, who knows. Trump did not leak the Comey story to Reince Priebus or to Sean Spicer to triangulate who was sabotaging him. Trump now knows it's either Spicer or Reince who are sabotaging him. They are so busted.
Yeah, Cernovich, I didn't mean to interrupt you. He got his earpiece unplugged. I had to run over and plug it in for him here. Teleprompter free news, so we're sorry we're interrupting you. Keep going.
Oh, so that was why the Comey story never leaked. Trump didn't tell Reince and he didn't tell Spicer, and my sources told me that was because he wanted to find out, okay, who is doing the leaking? Is it Sean or is it Reince? Now he knows it's one of them. That was the perfect trap. The Comey story didn't leak. So now he has to figure out, is it Spicer or Reince? But he knows for a fact it's one of them. So that is what the shakeup talk is about. Trump is furious. He now has confirmation that his own press team or somebody within it is not being honest. So here's another subplot, another subtext, is that Spicer and his press team threw a fit. Oh, my God, we weren't prepared to talk about Comey. Well, no kidding, because you're leaking it. Because you're leaking the story, Trump cannot...
That's right. He's got to keep his cards to his own vest because of your treachery, dumbasses.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
So they're all flipping out. And I was told by my sources that to let, Alex and the whole team know and everybody else, to let Trump know that that was a good decision. Because what they're trying to do is they're saying, watch, Trump, look what happens when you don't tell us beforehand.
Sure, that's why the word I got from multiple sources, and Roger confirmed this, it's probably it was his own people, we're not sure exactly who, that leaked to the media the talking points Nixonian and didn't tell them to selfishly make them the poor little heroes that weren't part of all this, and then Spicer hides in the bushes and acts like he's all upset. It has bad optics.
Alex, I actually think that the CNN Politico story last week that said that I was the one who convinced the president to fire Comey was the result of a leak from the White House with the strategic thought that Roger Stone, Richard Nixon, Saturday Night Massacre, here's how we poison the option of firing Comey with the president. That was the purpose of that, and it obviously failed.
Yeah,
from your intel, stay there, Mike. From your intel, when we come back, both of you, obviously, can you tell people who you think it is? No, because these people are idiots. I mean, all right, we'll be right back with Mike Cernovich, Roger Stone. I'm Alex Jones. This is the InfoWar. All right, right, Mike Cernovich, Roger Stone. I feel bad. We're almost out of time here. Obviously, tomorrow, hopefully, we can pick this back up. Roger's going to be in studio. Roger Cernovich is taking over with other big news, other big tidbits. It's just such a battle for this country, such a huge army of scum aligned against the American people. It's just an unprecedented time right now to be alive. I mean, Trump so clearly is the American president. He's so clearly trying to turn the economy back on. He's so clearly under attack by every enemy on the planet. This is insane.
But at the same time, you have Rex Tillerson, Condoleezza Rice pushing the appointment of Kay Bailey Hutchinson, part of the Never Trump crowd, as ambassador to NATO. What could possibly be the thinking here?
So what was Trump's thinking to bring all these people in, thinking they would just do good because he was the boss?
I think he thought it would be kumbaya. Yes, it's important to have all factions of the party represented. Yes, it's important to have a united party, but you unite the party by putting forward policies that are so popular that the establishment Republican types and the moderate Republicans don't dare oppose it, or they'll be swept away.
That's right. Instead, they've tricked not just Trump, but the people under him into compromises that kill Trump with his base. But the word is Trump's going to turn back towards the nationalism, back towards his roots. Mike Cernovich, what's your intel?
Yeah, so it was kind of funny. My sources have told me that you and Alex and Roger are going to be really happy. And I said, why? And he goes, well, I can't go too much into detail. But what Trump has noticed is Trump goes, what happened to all those people on Twitter who loved me? What happened? He called the savages, actually. He goes, what's going on with the savages? And people didn't want to tell him right away. But he's figuring out that his media team they don't do anything. They're ineffective. Spicer is a beta cuck. He's afraid to confront the media, afraid to call them out, afraid to go in there.
Trump didn't know why 100 deep he never saw positive comments or feedback that he loved, because he doesn't know, until people told him a week ago, that Twitter's blocking all the positive comments.
Which is hard to understand, because here we have Steve Bannon, friend of mine, comes from the world of alt media, should understand this better than anyone, but no one has ever laid out for the president what Google and Facebook and Twitter and Amazon and Yahoo are doing.
They're destroying his base.
This is the most important issue. It is more important.
And the good news is it's been brought up. Cernovich, get back to that. That's key. But by the way, can both of you, because we have like 4 hours tomorrow, it'd be great to have you for like an hour, Roger, and then Cernovich for a whole hour with us. Wouldn't you love to just have those big segments tomorrow?
Works for me.
Mike, can you come on tomorrow?
Yeah, of course. It's always my pleasure. So I've been told that Bannon had to be real careful, because if you watch what the media is doing, the media created, I was told by the highest level people, a psyop against Roger, and Roger is right. They knew that the documentary on Roger was coming out, so they timed that Nixonian talking point. They actually have a team of PhDs, people like Robert Cialdini. They timed those talking points for the documentary because they then knew people would be Googling Roger Stone Nixon. So it was a very, very sophisticated, coordinated psyop. I have been told that the Democrats have upped their game. They've actually brought in people who understand new media, and that they told me they've leveled up. And all of us, we better be prepared to fight like never before, because they go, look, man, last year, you guys steamrolled them on social media. They brought in whole teams of PhDs, Apple research on everybody. And, of course, that's why people have to go to InfoWarsStores.com, because they're trying to crush us, man.
By the way, I haven't even plugged once in the last 2 hours, even though it's how we fund ourselves, because I just want to cover the info. It's so exciting to be breaking this down. But absolutely, it's all over the news. The algorithms, Facebook, Google are trying to shut us down, blocking us everywhere, attacking us, and trying to attack Trump and saying, kill him everywhere. I mean, this is beyond any movie or anything I ever fantasized about. How, despite everything they're doing, he's gotten most of his agenda done, and then we're all sitting here bitching that he's not Jesus, parting the Red Sea like Moses.
And they actually have a list. This is evocative of the famous black list of the 1930s.
But beyond that.
But it's in reverse. These are the people whose First Amendment rights must be crushed. Juanita Broderick, Alex Jones, Paul Joseph Watson, Roger Stone, Tucker Carlson, whoever it may be. It's extraordinary.
Yeah, I've been blacklisted, actually. A friend of mine who's a New York Times bestselling author said, hey, Cernovich, why don't you use a publisher for your book? And I go, well, why don't you ask them? So he talked to his book agent. His book agent said, oh, no, it's well known that Cernovich is blacklisted within the publishing industry, because they know that he would sell so many books that he would be on the New York Times #1 on the list, and they don't ever
want to create celebrities, but here's the good news. We don't want to be celebrities. We want to defeat tyranny, but we've got to be celebrities to do it, even though we're major targets. So now it's a do-or-die death battle, folks. I'll be destroyed, Roger will be destroyed, you'll be destroyed. We'll all be destroyed if we don't win this. We've got to be all in. So Roger, Cernovich, all of you, how do we all in ourselves, and how do the listeners get all in?
Well, the listeners, by supporting you, you know, the Infowars.com, the products that they buy support it. We need to put more people to work. This is another thing most people don't realize. I've hung out with Alex Jones. I know Roger Stone. I know everybody. We're not driving Ferraris. We're pushing our money back into the economy.
Sure, it's all about the war. But I mean, on top of that, though, people should spread the links.
That's exactly right. If you have a Twitter feed, if you have a Facebook feed, if you're on Instagram, if you're on Snapchat, you're an army of one. Take the best stories off of InfoWars and get them out there.
The most powerful forces of globalism are scared. They're spending billions to defeat you. We already beat them once in the election. We're in a total battle. They're doing everything they can to defeat our president. We're going to win if you take action.
But people repost my videos, and I've had people say, Cernovich, why do you let people repost your videos? And they monetize the videos on YouTube, and I go, good. Post my videos, monetize them, make money, just get the link out.
We just want to win. My God, they're trying to get rid of the family. They hate Christians. They're with radical Muslims. It's a death battle. They're a bunch of scum that